What's up guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Realistic Career Mode. It's episode number 101, and we start today's episode with a look at our fixtures for September. 5 games coming this month, including our first 2 Champions League games away at Celtic Park, at home to Bayer Leverkusen, Espanyol and Real Valladolid at the Nou Camp, and also, you would have seen it, first El Clasico of this season away at the Bernabeu against Real Madrid. Of course, last season, if you remember our battles against Real Madrid, we drew the first game against them in La Liga, then we lost to them in the Supercopa, but then we won the following 2 games, reverse fixture in the La Liga and also in the Copa del Rey as well, on our way to winning a domestic double. And I mentioned it, I was kind of not necessarily disappointed at the lack of challenge from Real Madrid last year, because obviously I wanted to win La Liga in our first season and we did that, but I was kind of expecting more of a fight from Real Madrid last year, because again, we kind of just walked to the title. We were title winners for a long time, it felt, and Real Madrid were like way off the pace, finishing over 20 points behind us in La Liga. I'm kind of hoping this year that they will be more competitive in La Liga, because I really want like a tight title race with them, an El Clasico rival going for domestic honours. Last season they won the Supercopa after beat us in the semi-final, but in the Copa del Rey we beat them and of course beat them in La Liga pretty comfortably on our way to winning the title as well. Still, 41st game on today's episode. On the back of a special thank you, episode 100. Just want to say real briefly, once again, thank you for all the support in this series so far, as we see a little bit of a glitch of a celebration here with Dembele. Thank you for supporting the series so far. We're now past the treble digit mark. First time I've done that in a FIFA series in this year's FIFA, and it's just been such a fun save to do, and as we're taking on Real Valladolid here, leading by 2-0 in the second half, looking for a third goal, as De Jong is slid forward 1-on-1 and gets it. Obviously I started a realistic CM with Wolves at the beginning of the FIFA 21 year. That was on the, if you will, current gen console on PS4, not the next gen console, and I had so much fun doing it. I really did. With Wolves, we know that their identity, the way they play, their setup, but also their transfer policy of signing primarily Portuguese players. I mentioned, during that series and also in this one as well, it's very hard to keep a FIFA CM realistic, because AI transfers are just absolutely wild in this game mode, as we know, so keeping the save realistic is really, really hard to do. But I have to say, for this being our 8th season now of the save, I think we have done things relatively realistically, or as good as we can get it, basically. With Burnley in the 3 years we spent there, I thought things were quite realistic. We went into the Europa League, but I made a point of not wanting to go further with them because it would have felt quite unrealistic. And with Arsenal, it's kind of similar as well. Domestically we achieved domestic success, but I wasn't really too sure whether it would be a good idea to make them into the best team in the world whilst we were there, in the end of course to win the Champions League without us last season. But I've done my best to keep the save as realistic as possible. But again, you got to remember, we're into our 8th season now, and with players literally everywhere in world football right now. I think you've got the likes of Harrison Reed, Osasuna and so on. It's been a bit crazy, but that's just FIFA CM. You can't really keep it that realistic. You can just do the best you can. But you guys have really appreciated how I've ran things in this series, and I want to say thank you for that, because the support's been great since the very beginning, and I've really enjoyed the journey we've been on with with Burnley, with Arsenal, and now at Barcelona as well. Anyway, for the second game of today's episode, as our winning run continued in La Liga, 4 straight after the victory against Real Valladolid, now taking on Celtic away from home. I briefly mentioned this in the last episode when the draw was made. Obviously, it's crazy to think how many years ago it was now when Celtic beat Barcelona. I think it was 2-1 in the end, and it was indeed, I mentioned him very briefly in episode 100, Tony Watt that scored the goal. Obviously, he turned into a bit of a Twitch streamer in recent years, but it's crazy to think how many years ago that was, mate. It doesn't seem that long ago, but it was. But taking it away from him anyway in Glasgow, we scored the first in the first half for a wonderful bending effort with Fati, and then in the second half managed to get 2 goals in the space of around 7 and 8 minutes. The first one, Bilbao Arteta giving us the lead, and then, this was just glorious. Here's some lovely goals today. Juan Martinez with a stop with the fake Rabona, and then the first time finish into the far corner as well. I've mentioned it a few times, and I'll say it once again. The only regret I've had in this save is that I haven't had too many new gen / regen youth players, if you will, having meaningful impacts on my teams, or with Burnley, with Arsenal, and out at Barcelona as well. But I have found round, and it's kind of ironic with Barcelona, you know, the best team that we've been managing in terms of star rating, that this is the team where the youth players have had more of an impact, because we signed Leandro in the summer window. I'm very excited about him. But also, again, Bilbao, Arteta last season was amazing. He scored our second in that game. And also Martinez as well. He's also had a potential decrease, but he's got some minutes and scored a lovely goal there as well. It's the only regret I've got in this save, not being able to get my youth players more game time, more exposure, and I guess find youth players as well. I find it quite hard to find good youth players to buy, but also through the academy in this save. And that's sort of the luck of the draw, really. Like, all CM saves are like that. Every now and then you'd have a CM save where you've got like 3 or 4 star youth players, oftentimes in a similar position, which is always frustrating. How many times have you guys done a save where you got like 3 strikers or like 2 goalkeepers that are both really great out of the academy, and you got to choose one to prioritise, you know? But then sometimes you do a CM project, and for the life of you, you just can't find a good youth player. Unfortunately, this has just been one of those saves. But it's nice to know with Barcelona, Bilbao, Arteta, and Martinez, particularly the former, have had good impacts, and now Leandro is in as well. I'm hoping he will be a star in this team. Anyway, for the third game of today's episode, first El Clasico of the season, Real Madrid away at the Bernabeu, yet to win at this ground since joining Barcelona. But 52 minutes into the game, after a lacklustre first half, we would see De Ligt get his first goal for the club, but answers on a postcard. How did this go down as an own goal? I've got absolutely no idea. It was clearly going in. It was clearly going in between the posts, and yet somehow, whilst there was a noteworthy deflection, it was literally on the goal line. Like, the ball was going to cross the line in about half a second, and the goal got taken away from De Ligt. We know that's Matthias De Ligt's first goal for the club. Might go down as an own goal. We know that's De Ligt's first goal since joining from Juventus. So 1-0 Barca took the lead, but again, the first half of this game was absolutely shocking, but it all started kicking off in the second half here. Both teams really woke up, and Real Madrid would find their level through Centurion, Richarlison heading wide from a corner, but soon after they would find their level, and that was how the game would finish. So our record against Barcelona, as Pedro Porro finally is coming back from his ACL. You don't know how long I've waited for this, man. I love Porro, but look at the decrease, man. He's gone down to 85 overall. This guy was, again, on the verge of becoming an 89, 90 rated player last season before the ACL. He was like my third favourite player in the team. I was gutted when he got that injury, but I am glad to know he's returning to first team training. But yeah, our record against Real Madrid so far is pretty decent. We played 5 times against them. We've won twice. Sorry, no, we have lost around it, haven't we? So we've won twice. We've lost once and drawn twice. At the moment, we do seem like we've got a decent record against Zidane's side, but of course there is still a long way to go, and I'm sure we'll meet them again this season, not just in the reverse fixture, but probably in the Copa del Rey, Super Copa, and who knows, maybe even in Europe as well. But yeah, Pedro Porro coming back, man. I've missed the guy so much. I always say, like, we get 1 ACL per year, and it's always like the luck of the draw. Who's going to be the guy that unfortunately ends up going down and gets that serious season-ending 7-month injury? Last year I was gutted it was Pedro Porro. Hopefully I'll be able to get his rating up pretty quickly, because going down to 85 overall, that's a big decrease for Pedro Porro after missing so much football. I guess it is kind of understandable. Still, for the 4th game of today's episode, Espanyol at home won this one by a goal to nil. Very, very tough game. This is one of those games where, like, I don't know if you guys get these sort of games. I get them quite frequently, where they feel like they'll be bankers, but your players are just sort of stuck in the mud. You can't really play at a high tempo, if you know what I mean. That was one of those games there, but in the end won the game by a goal to nil, courtesy of you know who, Ansu Fati, so we'll take it. And our 5th and final game of today's episode, final one of September, match day 2 in the Champions League. And on the back of winning the opening night against Celtic, wanted to make it 2-2 to start off with here against Bayer Leverkusen, who have a fantastic team, by the way. Rafael Varane is there, a couple of really decent players in the squad. But we would score the first goal of the game through the captain De Jong, who has been unbelievable to start this season off here. Brilliant, lovely little team goal as well, and an intricate passing in the area and a simple finish for the skipper. So 1-0 Barca, and then 33 minutes into the game, a chance to make it 2. Coming on the break, Keane releases Fati down the left-hand side. We know this guy's lightning and so good when stepping in field. Offloads to Cucurella, he finds De Jong, and Mikel Oyarzabal finishes with the weaker right foot as well. And also as well, you know, we talk about how good Fati is in this team. He's the star, everyone knows that, but Frenkie de Jong, that's another assist for our captain this season. Man's been on fire since the year began. And, you know, oftentimes, like, my deep-lying playmakers, like de Jong often is in this team, aren't the most impactful. And oftentimes their ability doesn't show up in the stat sheet. But it certainly isn't de Jong's case this season. He's averaging either a goal or an assist in every single game. He's been on fire. So, yeah, 2-0 Barca. Almost got a third goal through Martin. Is going for one of those fake Ramona and finishes just wide of the post. And whilst Leverkusen will grab a goal back towards the end, Vert with the finish, we would hold on for the 3 points. So back-to-back wins in the group. I said when it was drawn, it wouldn't be an easy one, but 100% start in the Champions League group. 2 wins from 2, a third of the way through, and top of the group. And what I want to do, just like last season, is qualify with a game or 2 to spare. Always a big luxury, you can rest players with a couple of games remaining. But also in the Liga as well, top of the table, only level right now with Real Sociedad in terms of points. For anyone who's watching my FM reboot save right now, less said about those guys, the better. But that was this episode of the Realistic CM, guys. So big thank you for watching. Hope you guys have enjoyed it. If you have, then please do drop a like. Much love to you all. Have a fantastic day, and I will see you for the next episode of the Realistic Career Mode very soon.